Every early spring I like to go out into the woods and look for pussy willows. I'm not always successful in finding some, but when I find some, they always remind me of my childhood in Germany and how I found them there and some other early spring flowers. So I want to read to you a little section from my book, Hardships and Magic, Memories of Growing Up in Germany, 1939 to 1955. The chapter is called Wildflowers. The first harbingers of spring each year are the pussy willows growing halfway up the hill of the Neue Straße, the road going towards a hamlet called Wolfertsbrunn. That is the direction we usually take when we are heading for the woods. As winter weakens its icy grip, I climb up here in eager anticipation. Except for the bunch of fir branches on our table during Advent and the Christmas tree, we have not had any plant or flower in our room for many months. I deeply miss that. At last, the adorable silvery gray tips of the pussy willows have pushed halfway out of their dark brown shells. They are just right for picking. Armed with my mother's pocket knife, I carefully cut off a handful of branches. At home they are arranged in a vase filled with water. They will last until after Easter, when other spring flowers will appear. A few days later I visit some hazelnut bushes growing wild among other brush at the side of the major dirt road between the Neue Straße and Rhein, our hamlet. Their blossoms, which look like little sausages, are still very short and tight. But I gather some branches full of these, for I know that placed in water in our room, they will soon elongate and turn yellow. Mixed in with the pussy willows, they make a lovely spring bouquet that we call Kätzchen und Schäfchen, kittens and little sheep. As soon as the first green blades of grass appear, my mother and I set out on our annual hike to the Krokuswiese, crocus meadow, at the edge of another hamlet, several kilometers from Rhein. Every spring, that meadow is covered with large, dark and medium purple crocuses. The sight is intoxicating and exhilarating, and every year I wish that I could call such delicate beauty my own. The peasant farmers who own this meadow are probably not pleased with our presence here, but nobody ever chases us away. We always pick some of the lovely blossoms, and since they tend to soon wilt in a vase, we also dig up 4 or 5 blooming bulbs and place them in earth in a flower pot where they last much longer. My wish of owning such a meadow, such a crocus meadow, has come true. Because for the last 45 years or so, in our side and backyard here in Nowak, we have crocus all over the place. And each year I just love them. In the post-World War II years in Germany, hunger reigned, especially in the late winter months. But then when spring came, there were at least some fresh greens that we could pick. And I want to read you a little section from the chapter Food Shortage. Early in the spring, our mother takes me to fields where the young shoots of grain are a few inches high. Among these shoots, tender leaves of wild Rapunzel, rampion, can be found. After the long winter was almost no vegetables or fruits to eat, we are craving something so green and delicious. It takes us many hours to gather just a few handfuls of these little leaves, which my mother prepares as a small salad. With my first taste of this refreshing green, I suddenly understand very well the expecting mother's fatal craving for this special treat in the fairy tale Rapunzel, which you can find in the Brothers Grimm's collected fairy tales. By now the stinging nettles have grown to the right size for picking. We must wear long sleeves and gloves to gather them, or else our arms and hands would be covered with burning blisters. Collecting the nettles, I become in my mind Maid Marlene in the fairy tale, the princess who is so desperately hungry that she has to eat the burning nettles raw. Luckily, I can eat mine cooked. The nettles grow in abundance and we bring home a big bag full. Our mother washes them, boils them in salt water, and then chops them up like spinach. Eaten with mashed potatoes, and if we are lucky, a fried egg, they make one of our best meals. But as spring advances, the nettles grow too big and coarse for consumption.